Welcome to episode 18. I'm going to let y'all in on a little secret that you may or may not have already noticed. Our egos, fears, doubts, they're so dang sneaky that they convince us that there's a problem, oftentimes when there isn't one. So then we run out there to fix it, and lo and behold, it's in the fixing of this problem that we create a real problem. Then our ego goes, see, I was right all along. There is a problem. And it took me half of a lifetime to start catching on to the fact that, yeah, you're right. There is a problem now, but it was you, sneaky little ego, that created it. Self-fulfilling prophecy. Most of our problems are made up in our heads. I'll bet you the ratio of made up problems versus real problems is 90 out of 100 are just problems that we imagined, if not more than that. I'm being generous here. Let me give you an example. You're thinking about what a jerk your partner or significant other is, and how he, she, they always do fill in the blank, whatever your trigger is. And you're so sick of it. And you feel like, I got to take action. I've got to tell them how awful they are. I've got to make sure they understand what they're doing and why it's wrong. And now you're focusing on the negative aspects in them. And they can feel that because we're all energetic beings. We can all feel when someone's projecting something onto us. And now they're upset and you're fighting and you're both angry. And now you're even more convinced than you were before that you're in a relationship with a total monster. Not realizing how you're contributing to that. Now, I'm definitely not suggesting that we forgo healthy communication, which in my opinion is the bedrock of any type of healthy and happy relationship. But we all know firsthand that when someone comes at us with an energetic pitchfork, treating us like we're a monster and a crappy attitude and they're ready to pick us apart, we're going to get upset. We're going to get defensive in reaction to that. It's a really rare soul who can have their partner pick them apart while they just sit there and smile, and say, thank you. Thanks for helping me see how flawed I am so I can do better. I mean, wow, I'm not there yet. Are you? To be real honest, I've never met a human being in my life who's at that level of serenity. They might exist, but they are rare souls. So why do we expect our partners to be? We all know that gentle, kind communication works better than accusation and attack, but our ego just often won't allow it. And here's why. The ego always wants to fix things out there, without any accountability, because our ego is fragile, fear-based, paranoid, and literally incapable of honest self-reflection and accountability. It doesn't have the inner strength to own anything. If it did, it wouldn't be ego. Ego wants to project all problems onto everyone else, on situations, people, places, and things out there. And I'm sure you've met someone before who seemed to think every problem in their life was caused by the system, or other people are awful and they're stupid, etc. And they just seemed completely unwilling or incapable of considering that they might be playing at least some small role in their own life and their own outcomes. I mean, imagine that. On the other hand, spirit, or the higher aspect of your being, which for me, I use the term higher self. That part of me that's connected to divinity, that has a higher perspective, that part of me is always willing to look internally for the solution rather than trying to project it externally onto other people. Our higher self may know that there is indeed something weird going on that isn't your fault, but it's still going to be accountable for either leaving the situation or responding to it in a mature, kind, and honest way, rather than reactively ripping into people and blaming and accusing. And I don't mean to imply that your higher self can't be amazing with boundaries. In fact, in my experience, it is the higher aspect of my being that intuitively understands boundaries and how to keep them, and how to have self-respect and honor my own personal worth. It's my ego that bends and capitulates to gain approval, and then passive aggressively, or sometimes even playing out aggressively resents the people that I allowed to mistreat or use me. So here's a very simple yet radical truth that few people in my experience have the maturity to grasp. But I know that someone watching this kind of video likely does have that level of inner commitment to their spiritual and emotional growth. So I'm going to share it with you. Most of our problems are in our mind. They're in our perception only. They're not real, objective, actual problems. They're based on regrets from the past or speculations about the future, both of which don't exist. The past is gone. It's not here. The future's not here yet. It doesn't exist yet. And focusing on that robs us of the joy in the present. So how do we resolve that? It's simple. We own our own perceptions and our own perceived problems, and we responsibly decide what we will do or will not do about it. And I'm going to be honest, most of my problems magically disappear if I just leave them alone long enough. If I don't get reactive and pick a fight or create some kind of unnecessary drama, they just kind of dissipate. This is how I started noticing that I must be creating some of my own problems a lot of the time, because when I started minding my own business and focusing on solutions instead of how it was everyone else's fault, all of a sudden, instead of trying to fix other people, I worked on fixing myself and my own issues. My problems started to disappear. And I'm not claiming that there's nothing in your life that you need to take action on. You know what's going on in your life better than I do. But why not start with the very low-hanging fruit of letting go of the small stuff and not listening when our crazy ego tells us it's time to go out there and tell someone off in a harsh, accusatory way, or go out and fix other people out there instead of dealing with the crazy stuff going on internally. Why not go inward and ask ourselves, what am I possibly doing to contribute to this undesirable situation? And how do I address that internally before I try to go out there and control everyone else? You know, we can ask ourselves, do I need to put a healthy boundary in place? Am I being codependent? Do I need to end this situation or relationship? You know, do I need to fill in the blank? Those are worthwhile questions, but they're based on accountability, not on projection. And one thing you never need to do is fix someone else, because you're not responsible for that. They are sovereign over their own life, just like you are. I mean, if they're breaking a law, then call the cops, I guess. But if they want to be crazy, that's their right to go out there and be crazy. And it's your right to decide if you want to engage with that person, place, or thing or not. But what I do know is that trying to control other people is always going to be a lose-lose outcome. It's simply not your job to fix other people or try to control other people and outcomes, even if you think it's for a good cause, even if you think you know best and everyone else is an idiot. Controlling others is never for a good cause. Don't let your ego fool you that it is. Instead, let's all learn how to control ourselves, including me. It's something I'm working on. It's something I'm committed to. I'm Beck Sato. Thanks for joining me today. I'll see you soon. Love you.